supporting more missionaries in our Lord. Lord, we pray for the sister, Lord, her family, Lord, you know what their needs are, what's on their heart for them. I pray, Lord, you're praying through this unspoken time, dear Lord. We pray for Brother Jeff. We pray for the church, dear Lord. You'll add to it. You'll add, send us more workers and give us wisdom and the need, Lord, to do what we need to do, Lord, to invite people in the church and to do your will, Lord. We can grow throughout this year and function your will, your honor, your glory. Bless each member of the church with their daily needs and for the desire in their heart, Lord, to be in church when the doors are open. Now bless Brother George, Lord, as he prays for the mission. Bless you, lay upon his heart this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Lewis. Pray for Brother Lewis and I. Tomorrow night, he and I are going to make visits. And what we're going to do, Brother Lewis, we're going to visit all of our neighbors right around here. Take one of those new door hangers and try to make about 15, 20 of our neighbors around here and see what happens. So y'all pray for us, okay? All right. It won't be that much walking. It won't be that far. And we can see what the Lord does with that. All right, let's go to 1 Peter, chapter number 3. 1 Peter, chapter number 3. Now, just a quick nugget to tie all this together. Of course, in chapter 1, Peter talked about suffering. That word is used about 20 times in 1 Peter. And he connects that, and then in chapter 1, made really a simple but great doctrinal statement about being saved, and about the Bible, and about sanctification, and about growing in grace, and about suffering. He went from that into living the Christian life. And he's covering the Christian life on the job, in the church, in the community, in relation to our government, and today, tonight, Christianity in our husband-wife relationship. Now, we are in chapter 3, verse number 1, and I determined that I would be very kind and very gentle in presenting this, but obviously still be true to the text and into what Peter said. The standing gist with these first 7 verses of husband-wife relationship is that there's 6 verses for the wife and 1 verse for the husband. And preachers have made light of that the wives needed 7 verses to straighten them out, and the man only needed 1 verse. Well, actually, the truth is, there is more weight put on the responsibility of that husband in that 1 verse than there is in all the verses put together to the wife. So that's an old gist that does not hold water. There was a problem in the early church, and I think it'd be well for us to state that so you'll kind of understand where Peter's coming from. From all the writings, apparently there were a lot more ladies won out of heathenism to the Lord than their husbands. So there was a need to instruct this new Christian wife, when she goes back home, how to deal with an unsaved husband. Furthermore, it was pretty common that the husband, if the wife came home saved in those early days, the husband would just kick her out of the house. So it was really important for Peter to teach these ladies how to get along with a lost husband who might be cruel or unkind or even kick her out of the house. Because remember, the early church was larger the worship of Diana, those men were very likely to just to kick their wives out. So witnessing to them was a real challenge. So you might want to remember the setting here. Now the first word is likewise. In other words, Christian living, and he's breaking that down, like I just said, to several classes of people. And now he's going to talk to the husband and wife. Like with you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. Now I got to stop there and say that there's no way to mitigate this statement, ladies. God's order is 1 Corinthians 3:9. The head of Christ is God. The head of the man is Christ. The head of the woman is the man. That's God's order. God didn't mean anything ugly or mean or derogatory to the lady when he said that. As a matter of fact, God's plan for a husband and wife was that the man be such a good husband that the wife feels absolutely, totally safe, comfortable, and protected in that marriage. The plan is for the home to be the sweetest place on earth next to heaven. So, what has been made out of that little statement, especially in the modern godless world, all of this women being equal with men, that's rebellion, that's satanic rebellion, folks. That's not in the Bible. But I want you to understand, God said that and meant that and orchestrated that to make your life as ladies the best life that you can have on earth. Be in subjection to your own husbands. That, if any, that is the husband. Obey not the word. In other words, isn't saved, isn't a Christian. They also made without the word, without preaching, without nagging, without constantly. Every time they turn around, you quote them a scripture verse, though that's all right if that's where it leads you. But that they also may be without knowing the Bible, without being preached, to be won by the conversation of the wives. Lifestyle. The Bible here says, and you can't get around it, that it is possible to win a lost husband. And by the way, turn that around, a lost wife. You can win a lost maid by your godly behavior. That's what it says. And we can't mitigate that. We can't water that down. Now the men, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. Chaste is a lady acting like a lady, dressing like a lady, looking like a lady, talking like a lady. I'll tell you what, out here in the world, it's just not a whole flat, in America this time, just flat, not a whole bunch of ladies left who dress like a lady and look like a lady and act like a lady and talk like a lady and are sweet like a lady. Man, you know, and boy, TV don't help it any. While they behold your chaste life. Now, coupled with fear, that means respect your husband. That word fear is not afraid. Let me tell you something. If the wife has to be afraid of the husband, there's something desperately wrong with the marriage. That's just not right. This fear is not be afraid. This fear is stand in awe, is really the word. Matter of fact, that same word fear in the Old Testament is fear God. It doesn't mean be afraid of God. It means stand in awe of God. So, when we get done with this, you'll see really the onus is on the man, the husband, to make the home work. Who's adorning? And this is where the Assembly of God and the Pentecostalists are wrong. Who's adorning? In other words, how you dress and your makeup and that you use adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting of the hair and of wearing of gold or putting on of apparel. Now I'm going to stop there, even though verse 4 goes with that. This is not saying do not look nice and don't go to the beauty shop and wear your hair in a bun or wear your hair way on here, or you can't use makeup, you can't use lipstick. That's not the meaning here. Now if you take verse 3 out and set it over here, yeah, you can make it say that. The point here is your beauty as a lady needs to be deeper than what kind of lipstick you use and how you do your hair. It needs to be your spirit. It needs to be your spirit. And that's when you look at verse 4. But let it be the hidden, or the hidden man is generic, but let it be the heart. God's interested in the heart. Man, if you were the most beautiful ladies, if you were the most beautiful ladies that would make everybody in Hollywood look like a bum, but you had an evil heart, a rebellious heart, and you were stubborn, man would like that, but God does not. Let it be the hidden person of the heart, in that which is not corruptible. You know, the hair is going to turn white, I don't care what you do. The lipstick's going to fade, the wrinkles are going to come. I always tell people when they talk to me about this, which nobody does anymore, because nobody wants to hear what old preachers have to say. But man, when you find a lady that you want to be married to, you better love more than the body. You better love the person that lives in the body. Because that body's going to change. I'm experiencing that in my own life right now. I don't care how often I go to the gym. I guess everybody's noticed I'm getting a little tummy. I fight it. I do so many push-ups. I go to the gym. It's here to stay. But we love and you know, we love the person in the body. The body's just a house we live in. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament, the adorning of a meek and a quiet spirit. Men don't love, well, they shouldn't, and I guess unbelievers do, but Christian men don't like a loud, aggressive, pushy woman. Amen, guys? We like a lady that's sweet. Meek, quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God, great price. So first of all, that says, and now I'm talking to all of us, men and women, God sees what we are on the inside. And God desires that what's on the inside comes out, and it be the same. Now, in an illustration, for after this manner, in the Old Testament, holy men, holy women, godly women, also who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. And then there's an illustration, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Now, we do not call our mates Lord. It's what it represents, that he is the God-assigned leader of the home, whose daughters you are spiritual daughters, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. You don't fear your husbands. You trust them. Amazement means you never know how he's going to react. And there And by the way, some of the stuff is not easy. Having to apologize when you've done nothing wrong is not easy, but it sure is smart. Likewise, ye husbands. Now, first of all, I want you to notice the word likewise. All the rules for the ladies, except the makeup and the hair and going to the beauty shop. That's, you know, but all of the godly traits apply to us too. Likewise, you husbands. Now look at this. Dwell with them according to knowledge. The man of the home is responsible to God to know from the Bible how to have a godly home. The lady shouldn't have to say to the husband, I mean, we do it in time frame or lack thereof, but the lady shouldn't consistently have to say to the husband, hey, before you go out, let's read the Bible and pray. That's the man's job. Amen, guys? The woman shouldn't have to push the man, get ready so we can go to church Sunday. The man ought to make the rules and say, the car leaves at 9 a.m. I expect everybody to be ready to go to church. The man is the spiritual and the physical leader of the home. Dwell with them according to knowledge. Let me read something else. The man is responsible to know what the wife's needs are. I mean, there's some things that she has to say, of course. But the man ought to be alert enough to know what the wife's needs are. Giving honor to the wife, giving honor to the wife, stand in awe of her. Stand in awe of your wife. First of all, that your wife will put up with you. Stand in awe of your wife. Quite frankly, I mean, I know that I'm a duck of a different color and come out of a different rock. And that my wife puts up with me sometimes. It's just, it's amazing. Stand in awe. It's unto the weaker vessel. Now, weaker how? Well, what have we been talking about? Character. The wife is not weaker spiritually or mentally. Women are a lot smarter emotionally. I've learned through the years when that lady tells me, you better watch that person, there's something not right about that person, I've learned I better listen. Ladies have a way of knowing things about people that us guys can't even come close to. And a lady, when she sets her mind to it, can outdo a man spiritually 10 miles. The only place the lady is weaker is physically. Now, there again, the modern world will argue with you. But women are weaker physically. God made them that way. That's why a lady needs a good husband to protect her. I disagree with lady policemen and lady firemen. I mean, thank God they're willing. We don't have enough men willing to do it. But I still disagree with it. I definitely disagree with ladies in the military going to the front line. It isn't right. Ladies are weaker physically. I'll tell you a story, true story. When I was pastoring in Kennedale, I was going up Miller Avenue to Lancaster Avenue to take a left. That was the direct from where the church was in Kennedale. That was the direct way, and I took a right to go down to Harris to the hospital. Going up Miller Avenue, and I could see off in the distance there was a police car with the lights flashing and had a car pulled over. And it was a lady policeman. I mean, she was a little thing. How she ever qualified to be a policeman? She's a black lady. And what she's trying to do, police officer, she's trying to arrest a black man, and he wasn't going to let her. He was starting to resist her. And so I thought, So I pulled in behind the police car. And I thought, I'm going to sit there a while. If that gets too rough, that lady's going to need some help. And sure enough, he started getting more agitated and more waving his hand and stomping his foot. And she saw me sitting behind her police car, and she went, and I got up, went up, and she said, would you help me so I can cuff this man? That poor lady should not have been in those kind of conditions. That's not what God had in mind for a lady. Oh, and by the way, I did. Weaker vessel only physically. Guys, these women are smart, if not smarter, and as perceptive, if not more, than we ever will be, as unto the weaker vessel. And being heirs together of the grace of life. The primary thing that you need to remember, guys, and all of us ladies, the person you're living with is also a believer. And that puts a lot of responsibility on all of us. There is a reason God tells young people not to marry unbelievers. It comes with a unique set of problems. And I know they'll say, well, when we get married, I'll win her, I'll win you. Sometimes, but usually not. Sometimes, yes. But here's another reason husbands and wives need to get along. That your prayers be not hindered. I have a sermon, I haven't preached it here. 7 reasons why God sometimes doesn't answer our prayers. And one of them is wrong husband-wife or wife-husband relationships. So that your prayers be not hindered. Now, he's specifically talking to all of us. Finally, he's going to get down to some do's and don'ts in the home or whatever relationship. Finally, be all of one mind. Boy, two people living together need to learn as much as possible to be like-minded, having compassion for one of another. These are easy; they don't need explaining. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. Christian virtues. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness. Not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing. We don't return evil for evil. We leave that to God. When we get railed on, we don't respond in kind, but contrariwise, blessing. I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying it's the standard. Knowing that ye are thereunto called. Christians are called to a different lifestyle than unbelievers. We are called to a different level of conduct than unbelievers. Why? That ye should inherit a blessing. What's a man soweth, that shall also reap. And of course that means man, woman, boy, and girl. What we dish out, in one way or another, eventually does come back to us. For he that will love life. Now this comes out of Psalms, I think it's 32. For he that will love life and see good days. Now, wouldn't that be all of us? We want to love our life. And we want our life to see good days. But there are some things that have to happen. Let him or her refrain. Let's refrain our tongue from evil and our lips that they speak no guile. Our tongue can be a a terrible enemy. You know, once you say it, it's out there. You can't take it back. I think these people who put bad things about other people or about their own life on Facebook or the internet for everybody to see, I'm sorry, I think people like that are marvelous. Why would you brag about your sins for everybody to see? We had an incident here. There was a lady that went back to an old lifestyle, and we voted her out of church. That's been 2.5 years ago now, and it made her mad. And she got on the internet and told everybody. Not too bright. Folks, we really do need to watch our spirit and our tongues. And do we slip up? Yes, we do. But we have to confess it and learn from it. And let's go on. Let him avoid evil. Eschew means to avoid. And do good. And let him seek peace and pursue it. And sue means to pursue. Here you have the conduct of a believer in the home, on the job, in the community, in the church. Here's our standard of conduct. Now, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous. God sees our life inside and out. And his ears are open unto their prayers. God hears our prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. Now, that is a good place to stop because the rest of the chapter changes gears and gets into some tough stuff that I will explain next Wednesday night. For example, the Lord went into hell to preach to people. Did he really do that? I'm not going to answer that now. That way you'll come back next Wednesday maybe. And then the word baptism there in relation to salvation. Is that really what that means? From verse 13 to the end of the chapter, we need to explain some very difficult verses, but they are explainable. And so we're going to stop at verse number 12 and take the rest of the next chapter next week. Okay. Let me ask, any questions on this? Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, easy to preach, and now we've got to practice it. Amen? All right. Thank you all. Let's stay. Thank you for being here tonight. May the Lord bless you. Have a good rest of the week. Pray for each other. Pray for the needs of the church. Pray for the Luz and I as we did this several years ago. We need to go around and reintroduce ourselves to all the neighbors. A lot of them are new. So hopefully we get to get out in the community to find out for a couple hours. So, all right. Brother Toby, would you word our benediction, please?
And if I would come to it again, Savior, thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your care. Thank you for your house. Honor you
Amen. But y'all are gonna have to wait a while before you go out there. It is storming and pouring. I mean, it's a total storm out there.
We need it though.
Well, there's not enough for you to go out and get wet. You'll melt. Isn't that great? It's getting it. I love it. Look at this.
Probably a fast right now.
Oh, yeah.
So does it feel better to do that? Yes,
Well, y'all might as well wait, 'cause you're gonna drown going out there. Well, praise the Lord for this to happen in the middle of July is a blessing.
Have y'all got all your hay in?
We've had one cutting, and it was going down so much, after we got that done cutting. If they had the rain, I had to.
I don't even have my rain cage yet, I have my rain.
I got mine out.
Hers, plowing this thing. After he worked his 8 hours, 8 or 10 hours, it's like,
Every farmer I've ever known knows that plow is just, it's their quiet time
it is.
to unwind.
Before I retired, and Ken had retired, when hay was going, he would have the hay cut and ask me to write when I got off of work. And I loved it because it was the best stress relief. Just to sit there and drive that tractor and watch it, make sure I'm doing it right. It took away.
It's wet out there.
It's wet out there.
Yes.
You got wet, Jeff. What you got there?
Each one of the ladies said they'd take a bag of pears, so I brought them.
Okay, ladies, all of you ladies, take a bag of pears.
I thought you were gonna say, you were gonna give us a bag for over.
Well, I can do that too, but right now it won't be any
Most
good.
of them are good. There may be a few in there that's not right, but
What happened to Lewis and,
You wet?
a little bit.
I'm crazy.
I heard that thunder.
Oh, that will be
I
good.
don't know if Courtney's home or.
Well, no, y'all take them because we're gonna have the bears.
Oh.
If they can use them, let them on the bears.
hey, there's not no way.
Well, you reckon those will be all right until Sunday when Esther gets back?
Yeah, they'll be all right.
Will she get back this Sunday?
No, the following. I just take them home with me and keep them at my house and give them to them,
Okay,
because they'll be cool in the house.
good, because I've
Yeah,
still
just
got,
hand them to me and I'll make George care.
I've still got probably that much more
At the
except
house.
on counter at the house, and that's probably still more than I'll use.
Well, y'all put on Facebook free pears.
I